Silence is not weakness. Silence is strength. The Stoics taught that power is not loud. Power is quiet, steady, and controlled. Many people lose power not because they are weak, but because they speak too much. Today, we speak about 5 things you should never reveal if you wish to keep your strength and peace. Silence is strength, because it gives you control over yourself. When you are silent, you are not rushed by emotion. You are not pushed by anger, fear, or excitement. You have time to think before you act. Most people speak to release pressure inside them. They talk to feel lighter. But every word spoken without care removes a piece of their power. The Stoic understands that not every thought deserves a voice. Silence allows you to see clearly. When you are quiet, you listen more. You notice tone, body language, and intention. You understand people better because you are not busy trying to be heard. Many reveal who they are through careless words. The silent one learns without exposing himself. Knowledge grows in quiet spaces. Silence protects your inner world. Your thoughts, values, and goals are fragile when spoken too early. Words invite judgment. Judgment invites doubt. Doubt weakens resolve. When you keep things to yourself, they grow stronger. Like a seed underground, strength forms away from attention. Silence gives your ideas time to mature. Silence also prevents regret. Words once spoken cannot be taken back. Anger passes, but words remain. The Stoic pauses, breathes, and waits. By staying silent in moments of emotion, you avoid damage that cannot be undone. Silence becomes a shield against mistakes. People often think silence means submission. This is false. Silence is choice. It is the decision not to react. It is refusing to be controlled by provocation. When others try to pull a reaction from you and fail, you keep your balance while they lose theirs. Calm silence unsettles those who seek conflict. Silence keeps your authority intact. Leaders who speak too much lose respect. Words lose value when they are constant. When you speak rarely, people listen closely. Your words carry weight because they are chosen, not wasted. The Stoic does not compete for attention. He allows attention to come naturally. Silence builds discipline. It trains the mind to stay firm. Each moment you choose not to speak, you strengthen self-control. Self-control is the root of all power. If you cannot control your tongue, you cannot control your actions. Silence is practice for greater restraint. Silence frees you from explaining yourself. Explanations often come from insecurity. You do not owe everyone your reasons, feelings, or motives. The Stoic knows that living well does not require constant defense. Actions over time speak clearly enough. Silence also keeps you safe. Many conflicts begin with words. Many enemies are created by careless speech. When you speak less, you reduce friction. You pass through life with fewer unnecessary battles. Peace is preserved not by winning arguments, but by avoiding them. Silence allows pain to be processed properly. Speaking too quickly about pain can make it heavier. Silence lets pain settle and be understood. It turns suffering into endurance. The Stoic carries pain quietly, not to impress others, but to strengthen the soul. Silence separates you from the crowd. The world is loud, emotional, and reactive. Silence makes you different. It slows you down, it grounds you. While others rush to respond, you remain still. In that stillness, clarity forms. Silence does not mean isolation, it means intention. You speak when words serve purpose, truth, or reason. You remain silent when words serve ego, fear, or impulse. Through silence, you keep ownership of yourself. Keeping your plans private is one of the most powerful ways to protect yourself and your goals. When you share your intentions too freely, you expose them to interference, doubt, and unnecessary judgment. Most people do not speak maliciously on purpose, but words have a way of changing perception and influencing action. A casual comment or a seemingly friendly suggestion can plant seeds of hesitation in your mind. When plans are spoken aloud, they leave your control. By keeping them to yourself, you preserve their clarity and direction. Private plans allow for focus. When others know what you intend to do, their opinions can distract you. Advice, even well-meaning, can create confusion. Criticism can instill fear or second-guessing. Even praise can make you complacent or eager for recognition rather than results. Silence about your intentions ensures that your energy goes fully into action rather than explanation. Your effort remains intact, uninterrupted by external influence. Keeping your plans private also prevents sabotage. Not everyone you encounter will support your growth. Some may be envious, some may compete, and some may act subtly against your goals. Words once spoken can be twisted or shared with the wrong person. By revealing too much, you give others the ability to interfere, intentionally or unintentionally. When plans are held silently, they move forward without unnecessary obstacles. The fewer people who know, the fewer chances of conflict or manipulation. When your plans remain private, your success becomes undeniable. There is a difference between ambition and accomplishment. Ambition announced openly invites comparison, judgment, and sometimes resentment. Accomplishment quietly achieved speaks for itself. People notice results more than promises. By keeping plans hidden, you allow your actions to demonstrate capability rather than relying on words to convince others. Privacy in planning encourages careful thought. When a plan is not constantly explained or defended, it must be clear to yourself first. You cannot rely on others to validate your choices, so you are forced to examine every step carefully. This strengthens your reasoning and sharpens your strategy. The process of thinking, adjusting, and improving happens internally, without distraction. Keeping plans private also protects your mental peace. Talking about what you intend to do often creates premature expectations. You feel pressure to succeed before the work is done. Silence removes this unnecessary burden. Without the eyes and opinions of others, you can act at your own pace. You are free to change direction, experiment, and correct mistakes without feeling the need to justify yourself. Private plans strengthen your discipline. To act without announcing your intentions requires self-control. You resist the temptation to impress others or seek their approval. Each step is guided by purpose and reason, rather than by external validation. Your mind becomes trained to rely on inner standards, rather than the reactions of others. Privacy also allows your plans to adapt. When you speak too early, the world reacts before you are ready. Expectations are formed, questions are asked, and advice floods in, often misaligned with your goals. By keeping your plans silent, you maintain flexibility. You can adjust, refine, or even abandon a plan without scrutiny. Change becomes a tool rather than a source of stress or shame. Keeping your plans private fosters patience. Results often take time, and success cannot be rushed. When others know what you intend to do, they may expect quick outcomes or visible progress. Silence teaches endurance. It allows you to move steadily, to measure progress carefully, and to wait for the right moment to act or reveal. Private plans also protect your reputation. If an idea is shared prematurely and fails, your credibility is affected. But when actions are executed quietly, failure is contained, and success is earned without unnecessary exposure. Your character is judged by results, not by intentions or promises. Keeping plans private is an exercise in wisdom. It is a choice to act deliberately, think clearly, and avoid unnecessary complications. It is a recognition that not all knowledge benefits from sharing. By holding your intentions close, you preserve focus, energy, and strength, allowing results to define your story. Guarding your weaknesses is one of the most important ways to protect yourself and maintain strength. Everyone has vulnerabilities, moments of doubt, fears, and insecurities. These are natural parts of being human, but revealing them carelessly can give others the power to influence, manipulate, or take advantage of you. Weakness is not shameful, but sharing it without discretion can make it dangerous. The world is filled with people who notice and exploit what others reveal, often without ill intent at first, but sometimes with harmful consequences. By keeping weaknesses private, you maintain control over yourself. Once a weakness is exposed, it can become a tool in the hands of others. People may use knowledge of your fears or limitations to pressure you, test you, or undermine you. Even well-meaning advice can unintentionally create doubt in your mind. Silence about your weaknesses ensures that your vulnerabilities remain your own, manageable only by you. Guarding your weaknesses also builds inner strength. Recognizing them privately allows for reflection and improvement without distraction. You can work on your fears, your habits, or your emotional responses without the pressure of external judgment. When weaknesses are known to everyone, you may feel compelled to explain, defend, or hide them, which drains energy and focus. Keeping them private allows you to channel effort into growth rather than justification. When you reveal your weaknesses freely, You invite unnecessary dependence. Others may begin to see you as fragile or in need of constant guidance. While support can be valuable, overexposure can erode your independence. Maintaining privacy over your struggles allows you to seek help selectively and on your terms, preserving dignity and control. Guarding your weaknesses is also a form of self-respect. You show yourself that you are capable of managing your inner world. You acknowledge your challenges without making them the property of others. The act of discretion demonstrates maturity. It allows you to face difficulties with resilience rather than relying on external validation or pity. Weaknesses revealed publicly often become distractions. People focus more on your vulnerabilities than on your capabilities. Your intentions can be misunderstood, and your actions may be judged through the lens of your struggles rather than your competence. By keeping them private, you direct attention toward your abilities and results, allowing your character and effort to define how others see you. Maintaining privacy about your weaknesses also protects relationships. Oversharing can create imbalance, where others feel responsible for you or try to control your decisions. By managing what you reveal, you preserve natural equality in interactions. Trust is still present, but it is guided by discernment, not indiscriminate exposure. Guarding weaknesses fosters strategic thinking. When you are aware of your limitations but keep them controlled, you can plan more effectively. You recognize where you may need to act cautiously, where to strengthen yourself, and where to rely on others without appearing vulnerable. Silence about weaknesses becomes a tool for navigation in both personal and professional life. This approach also builds patience and self-discipline. Resisting the urge to explain or defend your vulnerabilities requires awareness and restraint. Each moment of silence reinforces control over emotion and desire. You learn to tolerate uncertainty about how others perceive you, and to remain confident in your ability to handle challenges internally. Guarding your weaknesses does not mean denial. It is not pretending they do not exist. It is the conscious decision to manage them wisely, to work on improvement privately, and to choose carefully when and with whom to share. Strength grows in this space of discretion. The world often rewards those who appear calm and capable, because they have cultivated their inner power quietly, away from prying eyes. Recognizing your vulnerabilities and keeping them guarded allows you to act from a place of confidence. You are not weakened by exposure, nor are you controlled by fear of judgment. Instead, your focus remains on mastery, growth, and deliberate action, and you carry yourself with a quiet authority that commands respect without demand. By protecting your weaknesses, you protect your mind, your freedom, and your potential. You preserve energy for what truly matters: improvement, resilience, and action. Weakness becomes manageable rather than exploitable, and you remain in control of your own life, able to respond thoughtfully rather than react under pressure. Enduring pain with dignity is a sign of inner strength. Life is full of challenges, losses, failures, and suffering, and it is impossible to avoid them completely. Pain is not only physical but emotional, mental, and sometimes even spiritual. Many people try to escape it by complaining, blaming others, or seeking constant comfort. Speaking about pain often amplifies it, giving it more power than it deserves. Enduring quietly allows pain to be acknowledged without giving it control over your life. Pain is natural, but how you respond to it defines your character. Those who reveal their suffering constantly may receive sympathy, but they also risk being dependent on the reactions of others. They tie their well-being to external validation rather than inner stability. When pain is faced with dignity, it becomes a teacher rather than a burden. Every challenge faced without complaint builds resilience, and each moment of quiet endurance strengthens the mind. Enduring pain quietly also helps maintain focus. Life does not stop because we hurt. Responsibilities, goals, and opportunities continue to demand attention. By internalizing suffering, you prevent it from dictating your actions or clouding your judgment. Pain is acknowledged internally, processed with thought, and acted upon with calmness. Those who speak too much about their struggles risk distraction and delay, while those who endure keep moving steadily toward their goals. Enduring pain with dignity cultivates self-control. Emotions naturally arise in moments of difficulty: anger, sadness, fear, or frustration. but expressing them impulsively can escalate problems. By practicing restraint, you learn to manage emotions rather than be managed by them. Silence becomes a tool of mastery. The mind remains clear, and choices are guided by reason rather than reaction. This ability to remain composed in suffering sets the foundation for lasting strength. When pain is faced quietly, it allows reflection and learning. Every challenge holds lessons if approached with calm attention. Suffering reveals weaknesses, priorities, and values, but only when observed carefully. Talking too much about what hurts can obscure these lessons, turning the focus toward complaints instead of understanding. By observing pain internally, you discover its root, understand its effects, and find ways to overcome it thoughtfully. Enduring pain with dignity also protects relationships. Constant complaints or visible suffering can burden others, sometimes straining connections or creating tension. When suffering is handled with composure, it preserves harmony while still acknowledging the difficulty of life. Others are neither overwhelmed nor forced to offer solutions, and you maintain independence while managing your struggles responsibly. Pain endured quietly increases confidence and self-respect. You do not rely on sympathy or attention to prove your struggle. Instead, you demonstrate capability through your calm and measured response. Each moment of silent endurance reinforces the understanding that you are stronger than the circumstances you face. Confidence grows not from what others see, but from what you know about your own resilience. Facing pain with dignity allows you to maintain control over your narrative. Speaking frequently about suffering can create a story in the minds of others that may not reflect your true strength or purpose. By enduring quietly, you decide how and when your experiences influence your life. The story remains yours, not dictated by external perceptions or unnecessary judgment. Enduring pain strengthens patience. Some suffering is temporary, some long-lasting, and some without obvious solution. Complaining does not accelerate healing, nor does it change outcomes. Silence teaches the mind to tolerate difficulty without despair, to wait for resolution without resentment, and to act strategically despite discomfort. Patience is cultivated in the quiet moments where pain is observed, not dramatized. Enduring pain with dignity transforms suffering into power. Each challenge faced calmly becomes a proof of inner fortitude. By not giving voice to every pang, every hurt, or every fear, the mind and spirit grow stronger. Pain ceases to dominate life and becomes part of a larger pattern of growth and resilience. The ability to remain steadfast while facing difficulty quietly separates those who are ruled by circumstance from those who master themselves. Pain is inevitable, but submission to it is optional. To endure with dignity is to meet life directly, without complaint, without theatrics, and without surrender. It is a choice to remain centered, to respond wisely, and to act with integrity. Through quiet endurance, pain becomes an instrument of growth, self-discipline, and clarity, shaping the individual without diminishing their power. Doing good without seeking praise is one of the most powerful ways to cultivate true character. Many people perform acts of kindness, generosity, or service expecting recognition or admiration. They share their deeds loudly, hoping others will see their virtue and reward them with approval. This need for external validation diminishes the value of the act. True goodness is measured not by applause, but by the intention behind it. When you act well quietly, without seeking attention, your virtue becomes independent of others' opinions. When good deeds are performed for praise, they are tied to ego. You begin to act not out of principle, but out of desire for acknowledgement. This shifts the focus from the benefit of the action to the effect it has on others' perception of you. The mind becomes dependent on response rather than reason. When no one praises, you may feel disappointed or question your worth. By acting quietly, you remove this dependency. The act itself is enough, and satisfaction comes from knowing you did what was right. Performing good deeds without announcement also ensures sincerity. When actions are publicized, they are often influenced by the desire to impress, manipulate, or gain advantage. Quiet action avoids this trap. Your choices are guided by principle, not by the potential for reward or recognition. Sincerity strengthens trust and integrity, because people eventually see consistency, even without fanfare. Over time, a pattern of quiet goodness builds a reputation more solid than any boastful claim ever could. Quiet good deeds also protect your energy. Publicly seeking praise can be exhausting. You must manage appearances, respond to commentary, and navigate envy or jealousy. Others may challenge or question your motives, leading to frustration. When actions are done silently, you preserve your focus and energy for the task itself. The act of helping or creating value becomes the reward. You avoid unnecessary conflicts and distractions that come with public recognition. Performing good quietly encourages humility. Humility is a recognition of your place in the larger world, a reminder that no action is purely for personal gain. It is understanding that life is interconnected and that helping others is part of a shared experience, not a performance. Humility nurtures empathy and awareness because it shifts attention from self to the effect of your actions on others. Pride does not need to announce itself. Its strength is in its quiet presence. Good deeds performed without seeking praise also cultivate patience and resilience. Many acts of kindness or improvement are slow to show results. Recognition may never come, and the temptation to abandon the effort is strong. By focusing on the action itself rather than its acknowledgement, you maintain discipline and continue to act rightly. Patience grows because the act is disconnected from immediate reward or validation. When you act quietly, your goodness becomes consistent rather than occasional. Public recognition can create cycles of performance, where deeds are done only when attention is likely. Quiet action creates authenticity. You act according to principle, regardless of audience or circumstance. Over time, this consistency builds strength of character and a sense of inner integrity. Doing good without praise also strengthens independence. You are not swayed by the judgment, approval, or criticism of others. Your actions are guided by your own understanding of right and wrong, not by the desire to impress. This independence allows for steadiness in life, where choices are deliberate and values remain intact, regardless of external pressure. Quiet action often inspires more than public declarations. People notice patterns over time. The impact of steady, unseen effort creates respect and trust naturally. When recognition comes, it is a reflection of genuine consistency rather than performance. Influence built this way is strong and enduring because it is earned, not claimed. Performing good quietly aligns your mind with purpose. Your focus shifts from external reward to internal principle. Every act becomes a training in discipline, awareness, and moral clarity. By detaching action from praise, you cultivate a stable, resilient, and autonomous character, capable of acting rightly in any circumstance, free from dependence on others' opinions, and guided by reason and conscience alone. Not chasing approval is a key to freedom and inner strength. Many people live their lives trying to satisfy the expectations of others, seeking praise, recognition, or validation. They shape their words, actions, and even thoughts around how they will be perceived. This creates a dependence on others' opinions, and as soon as approval is withheld or criticism is given, the mind becomes unsettled. True strength comes from acting according to reason, principle, and personal standards, not external applause. Seeking approval often leads to compromise. When you adjust your behavior constantly to please others, your actions are no longer guided by what is right or effective, but by what is expected or admired. You may find yourself avoiding necessary risks, suppressing authentic opinions, or acting in ways that contradict your values. The desire for approval shifts power from your own judgment to the perceptions of others. By refusing to chase approval, you reclaim your autonomy. Decisions are made based on what is just beneficial or purposeful, rather than on what will earn praise. Not chasing approval strengthens the mind against manipulation. People who rely on the opinions of others are vulnerable to influence, flattery, or coercion. A simple compliment can sway their choices, and criticism can derail their confidence. By detaching from the need for approval, you create a stable foundation that cannot be shaken easily. You act deliberately, guided by reason, rather than reacting to the desires or judgments of others. This independence is a form of protection, allowing you to pursue goals without distraction or fear. Freedom comes from understanding that approval is not necessary for validation. The mind that depends on praise is always incomplete. It seeks completion from outside sources. True completeness comes from self-awareness, self-discipline, and acceptance of one's own actions. When you measure your worth by your own standards, the approval or disapproval of others becomes irrelevant. You are no longer enslaved by expectation, and your energy can be devoted to growth, action, and mastery of your own life. Not chasing approval also prevents disappointment and resentment. When you act to please others, there is always a risk that your efforts will go unnoticed or unappreciated. Even if recognition comes, it may be fleeting or conditional. Relying on external approval creates instability because it places your emotional state outside your control. By acting independently of others' judgment, you protect your peace of mind. Satisfaction comes from the act itself, not from someone else's acknowledgement. Detaching from approval encourages authenticity. People who act to gain praise often wear masks, presenting a version of themselves they think others will admire. This creates a gap between who they are and how they are perceived. By refusing to chase approval, you align your actions with your true values and principles. Authenticity attracts respect naturally, but it is never dependent on constant validation. Your integrity becomes evident through consistent, purposeful action rather than performance for others. Not chasing approval also builds resilience. Life is full of criticism, envy, and misunderstanding. Those who rely on approval are vulnerable to discouragement and doubt. The mind that acts independently, however, is strengthened by the knowledge that its worth is internal. Criticism may be heard, but it does not destabilize the spirit. Praise may arrive, but it does not inflate ego. Decisions are steady, deliberate, and guided by principle. By refusing to chase approval, you also gain clarity of purpose. Actions are chosen for their reason and utility, not for the reaction they may provoke in others. Energy is preserved for meaningful effort, rather than wasted on performing or explaining. Focus shifts to mastery, discipline, and long-term outcomes. Your life becomes less reactive and more intentional, and your choices are consistent with your values. Not seeking approval fosters inner peace. When the mind is free from the constant need to impress, it becomes calm and resilient. You no longer measure success by applause, nor failure by criticism. Your emotional state becomes self-sufficient, and your strength comes from reason, self-control, and clarity of purpose. Decisions are steady, actions are deliberate, and the life you live is truly your own. By refusing to chase approval, you cultivate independence, stability, and freedom. You act with integrity, maintain focus on what matters, and protect your energy from unnecessary influence. Your worth is determined by your own principles, your strength grows quietly, and your life is guided by reason rather than the ever-changing opinions of others. Speaking less and observing more is a practice that strengthens the mind, sharpens perception, and builds wisdom. Most people speak impulsively, responding quickly to situations without careful thought. Words are often used to react, to justify, or to impress, but speaking without reflection can lead to mistakes, misunderstandings, and unnecessary conflict. By choosing silence and paying attention instead, you gain insight into the world and the people around you, and you maintain control over yourself. Observing more allows you to understand motives, emotions, and intentions that words alone often conceal. People do not always say what they mean, and their behavior often reveals more than their speech. By remaining quiet, you notice patterns, habits, and truths that are hidden to those who speak first. Observation teaches patience and discernment because you are not rushed by the need to respond or assert yourself. You watch, you learn, and you act only when your understanding is clear. Speaking less also protects your energy. Words carry weight, and careless speech can create arguments, misunderstandings, and friction. Every conversation has the potential to distract, to inflame, or to bind you to someone else's agenda. Silence allows you to conserve your energy for action, for reflection, and for decisions that truly matter. The less you speak without need, the fewer battles you create unnecessarily. Speaking less strengthens self-control. Impulsive words often arise from emotion, anger, fear, excitement, or desire for approval. By resisting the urge to speak immediately, you train the mind to act deliberately rather than reactively. Self-control over speech translates to self-control over action. When your words are measured, your decisions become more calculated, deliberate, and aligned with principle rather than impulse. Observing more sharpens judgment. By paying attention to actions, tone, and behavior, You gather information that is more reliable than hearsay or assumption. You learn not only about others, but about yourself, how your presence affects situations, and how best to respond. Observation allows you to anticipate challenges, recognize opportunities, and act effectively, while those who speak first often react blindly and later regret their haste. Speaking less cultivates humility. When you do not feel the need to express every thought, you recognize that you do not always have the full picture. Silence teaches that knowledge and understanding often come before expression. By listening and observing, you avoid arrogance and false certainty, allowing insight to guide your actions rather than pride or impulse. Humility strengthens relationships, credibility, and influence because people trust those who speak thoughtfully rather than constantly seeking attention. Observation also enhances empathy. By watching carefully, you notice struggles, emotions, and intentions that others may hide. Silence allows space for others to reveal themselves without interference, and your understanding deepens as a result. Empathy gained through observation leads to wiser decisions, more effective guidance, and a calmer response to conflict, because you act with insight rather than assumption. Speaking less reduces exposure to judgment. Words once spoken cannot be taken back. They are judged, remembered, and sometimes twisted. By minimizing speech, you reduce the chance of error, misinterpretation, or offense. Silence allows your reputation to be shaped by action, consistency, and reason rather than by impulsive statements that may misrepresent your character or intentions. Observing more strengthens strategic thinking. When you watch before acting, you gather knowledge that informs better decisions. You notice timing, opportunity, and consequence. Silence allows you to assess situations fully and respond in a measured, deliberate way, while those who speak first often commit to a course before understanding it, losing both clarity and control. Speaking less and observing more is also a path to clarity of thought. The mind that is constantly forming words is often distracted and scattered. By limiting speech, you allow reflection and insight to develop. Observation fills the mind with understanding, awareness, and perspective, which leads to more precise, meaningful, and effective communication when words are truly necessary. This practice builds composure. When you speak less, you respond with purpose rather than impulse. When you observe more, you see the full picture before acting. The combination of silence and attention creates calm, measured responses in a chaotic world, enhancing influence, protecting energy, and fostering wisdom. By speaking less and observing more, you gain mastery over your mind, your actions, and your understanding of the world. You act deliberately, learn constantly, and maintain control over what you reveal and how you respond. Your silence becomes a tool of strength, your observation a source of insight, and your actions a reflection of reason rather than impulse. Self-control is true power, because it allows you to govern your life without being ruled by impulses, emotions, or external pressures. Many people confuse power with influence over others, wealth, or recognition, but these are temporary and fragile. True strength lies in the ability to direct your own mind and actions with discipline. When your desires, fears, and impulses are mastered, you act deliberately, calmly, and effectively, no matter the situation. Self-control begins with awareness. You must first recognize your impulses, emotions, and reactions before you can manage them. Without awareness, you are constantly reacting to events, people, and circumstances, giving your power away to whatever provokes you. By observing yourself carefully, you notice patterns of thought and behavior that may weaken you, and you gain the opportunity to respond rather than react. Awareness is the foundation of self-control, because you cannot manage what you do not see. Emotions are powerful, but they are not always reliable guides. Anger can make you lash out, fear can make you avoid necessary action, and desire can make you reckless. Self-control does not deny emotion. It allows you to feel fully while choosing how to respond. By pausing before action, you assess the situation, consider consequences, and act according to reason rather than impulse. This ability to respond thoughtfully is what separates those who are truly strong from those who are controlled by circumstance. Self-control preserves freedom. When you are ruled by impulses, you become a slave to them. Every desire, fear, or habit can dictate your choices, taking power away from your judgment and focus. By mastering yourself, you reclaim authority over your life. You act not because you are pushed by external forces or internal urges, but because you choose the right course deliberately. Freedom is not the absence of difficulty. It is the mastery of your response to it. Self-control strengthens resilience. Life is full of challenges, frustrations, and setbacks. Without control, these difficulties can overwhelm you, leading to despair, frustration, or reactive behavior. When you cultivate self-discipline, you withstand pressure without losing clarity. You endure hardship without complaint, face obstacles without panic, and recover from mistakes without self-reproach. Resilience grows when your mind is steady and not tossed by every challenge. Self-control enhances decision-making. When you are guided by reason rather than impulse, every choice becomes deliberate and intentional. You evaluate options carefully, consider consequences, and act in alignment with your values. Impulsive decisions often lead to regret, but disciplined thought ensures that actions are purposeful and effective. This clarity gives you an advantage in both personal and professional life, because your responses are measured, consistent, and reliable. Self-control protects relationships. Words spoken in anger, reactions driven by jealousy, or habits of impatience can harm others and create conflict. By mastering impulses, you interact with calmness and respect, even in difficult circumstances. Your consistency and patience build trust, and your presence becomes stabilizing rather than disruptive. Relationships thrive when they are met with thoughtfulness, rather than unrestrained emotion. Self-control cultivates inner peace. When the mind is dominated by impulses, it is restless and easily disturbed. Every external event can trigger anxiety, frustration, or craving. Discipline calms the mind because it is no longer reactive. Decisions are measured, priorities clear, and emotional equilibrium maintained. Peace is not found in external conditions but in the mastery of one's own mind. Self-control also enhances personal growth. Habits, discipline, and daily practices are the building blocks of skill, wisdom, and character. Without control, distractions, temptations, and weaknesses dominate, preventing progress. By exercising self-discipline consistently, you develop focus, endurance, and capability, allowing you to achieve long-term goals that fleeting desire alone could never accomplish. Self-control is power, because it is independent, enduring, and internal. Unlike wealth, influence, or recognition, it cannot be taken away by others. It allows you to act with integrity, resist manipulation, and pursue what truly matters. Every act of restraint, reflection, and deliberate choice strengthens this inner power, giving you authority over your life and the ability to respond to the world with clarity, wisdom, and calm strength.